Germany affirmed it will send a long-requested group of Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine in a significant indication of help for Kyiv that is supposed to be matched by the US. The declaration by Chancellor Olaf Scholz on Wednesday, combined with an expected choice by the US to send around 30 M1 Abrams tanks to Ukraine, denotes a milestone second that followed a long time of extraordinary tension in Berlin from a portion of its NATO partners. Scholz told his cabinet of his choice that Germany will additionally reinforce its tactical help for Ukraine, German government representative Stefan Hebestreit said. The central government has chosen to make Leopard 2 fight tanks accessible to the Ukrainian military, he said. This is the consequence of serious discussions that occurred with Germany's nearest European and worldwide accomplices. This choice follows our notable line of supporting Ukraine to Ukraine actually surprisingly well. The declaration came a day after CNN detailed that the Biden administration is finishing intends to send US tanks to Ukraine, a move that seemed to break the discretionary logjam with Scholz's administration. German authorities had transparently expressed that they would possibly send their Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine assuming the US sent Abrams tanks also, regardless of US authorities more than once focusing on that the Abrams tanks are excessively perplexing and hard to keep up with. The disagreement about whether the Germans would send Leopard to help Ukraine took steps to show a portion of the primary breaks in the unified Western reaction to Russia's intrusion into Ukraine. Yet, the declaration from Scholz and news that Washington is preparing its own shipment seems to show the US and its partners are as yet working in lockstep with regards to supporting President Volodymyr Zelensky and his country's battle against the Russians. The Germans will likely gather 2 tank regiments with Leopard 2 tanks for Ukraine, the public authority explanation said. In an initial step, Berlin will give an organization of 14 Leopard 2A6 tanks from Bundeswehr stocks, with the preparation of the Ukrainian groups to start rapidly in Germany. As well as preparing, the bundle will likewise incorporate planned operations, ammo, and upkeep of the frameworks. The German protection minister said the Leopard tanks could be functional in Ukraine in around 90 days. Boris Pistorius, addressing columnists Wednesday, said preparing would start things out, then, at that point, the tanks would be sent east. The German armed force has 320 Leopard 2 tanks in its control yet doesn't uncover the number of would-be fight-prepared, a representative for the Minister of Defense recently told CNN. Germany will likewise permit different nations to send out the fight tank, it said. Poland on Tuesday officially requested endorsement from Germany to move a portion of its German-made Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine. A few European nations likewise own a few Leopards, and Poland had driven work to resend out those to Ukraine regardless of whether Germany was not ready. Tending to the German parliament following the declaration, Scholz said he had addressed Zelensky prior to coming to parliament. During his discourse, the German leader said Germany along with the US and UK had sent the most weapons frameworks to Ukraine and demanded that his nation would be at the very front of help for Ukraine. Sending Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine will furnish Kyiv's powers with a cutting-edge and strong military vehicle in front of a potential Russian spring hostile. It will likewise come as a disaster for the Kremlin, which has seen a developing effort to furnish Ukrainian soldiers with innovative battling frameworks as Russia's ground war approaches the one-year point. Germany had at first opposed a developing drumbeat of Western strain to send a portion of the tanks to Ukraine, with new German Guard pastor Boris Pistorius over and over calling for additional time and demanding that the move would accompany upsides and downsides for Berlin. US makes a turnaround on Abrams tanks. The U.S. choice to give Abrams tanks to Ukraine addresses a sudden turnaround from its previously expressed position. While the Biden administration had never taken the chance of transporting American tanks completely off the table, U.S. authorities said openly last week that it was not the ideal opportunity to send the 70-ton M1 Abrams tanks since they are exorbitant and require a lot of preparation to work. The tanks, all things being equal, were over and over drifted as a drawn-out choice, even as pundits said it was the ideal opportunity, as Ukraine prepares for the chance Russia will assemble more soldiers and send off another hostile. Zelensky has reliably asked Western allies for present-day tanks as his nation gets ready to support a normal significant Russian counteroffensive in the spring. The choice to send US-made Abrams tanks will depend on an iterative interaction, surveying Ukraine's necessities, what help is suitable for the US to send, and specialized contemplations encompassing activity and support of the tanks, National Security Council Coordinator for Strategic Communications John Kirby said Tuesday night. We have discussed the way that the Abrams is an extraordinarily able framework, however it's a pricey framework to work and to keep up with, Kirby told CNN's Anderson Cooper on AC360. It has a fly motor. It doesn't imply that the Ukrainians can't learn it, it simply implies that we need to consider everything with any framework that we will possibly give to them, he added. The UK had started the trend for giving Ukraine fundamental fight tanks last week after it promised to send Kyiv 14 of its English Armed Force Challenger 2 tanks. The understanding crossed what had recently gave off an impression of being a red line for the US and its European partners. Ukrainian authorities have reliably begged their Western allies to give current fight tanks, to be utilized not exclusively to shield their current positions yet in addition to taking the battle to the adversary before long. Ukrainians dread that a second Russian hostile might start in 2 months or less. Even though Ukraine has loads of Soviet-time tanks, present-day Western tanks give a more prominent degree of speed and deftness. Specifically, the Leopard's somewhat low upkeep requests contrasted with different models persuade specialists to think the tanks could help Ukraine rapidly in the war zone. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak hailed Germany's move as the best choice following Wednesday's declaration. The ideal choice by NATO allies and companions to send fundamental fight tanks to Ukraine. Close by Challenger 2s, they will fortify Ukraine's guarded capability. Together, we are speeding up our endeavors to guarantee Ukraine wins this conflict and gets an enduring harmony, Sunak composed on Twitter. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's head of staff invited the news and emphasized the nation required a great deal of Leopard tanks. Composing on message, Andriy Yermak said, "The primary tank step has been taken. Next up is the Tank Alliance. We want a great deal of Leopards." Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki lauded German Chancellor Scholz for his choice. "Much thanks to you, Olaf Scholz. The choice to send Leopards to Ukraine is a major step towards halting Russia. Together we are more grounded," Morawiecki composed on Twitter. Please, if you love our video, give us a thumbs up, the like button, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe so that you won't miss the next video when we upload.